World over, stock markets are locked in a tight bear hug. In India, since mid-January, our markets are down some 15%. The IPO rush that we saw last year, down to a trickle. Now, companies that listed at the start of this cycle have been on a roller coaster ride, at least in terms of valuations. How does it feel to be on that roller coaster? Stick with me. I have a great story to tell you today. It's about a man with an indomitable spirit, helped in his quest by cameo appearances from legendary, iconic Indians, Shami Kapoor, Sachin Tendulkar, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, and a massive, grand public reception just last year. And we are nowhere close to the interval where this story is concerned. I'm talking about Nazara Tech, the first gaming company in India to go public. And I'm going to be talking to Nitish Mittersain. He's the joint managing director of Nazara Tech and, of course, the founder. When you listed last year, it was 2000 plus, and then today it is just a little bit above the offer price. So when you look at this, the valuation roller coaster, give us a sense of how that feels like, because we don't know.
No, it doesn't feel a lot, because Nazara has, and we've been in this business for 20 years. We've been through many roller coasters, right? We've been through many market cycles. Today, of course, it's listed, so you can see the price every day. But we've been through many market cycles, right? Starting from 2000 and the dot-com crash. So it's not the first time we're experiencing it. I think we find ourselves a lot more confident because we have a strong balance sheet, a strong business, a profitable business, a cash-generating business. So this downturn right now in the market is actually, if you think about it, very useful for us.
What do you mean?
We are very acquisitive in nature. Last 3-4 years we've been growing a lot. So with the downturn, our competition will slow down because the investor appetite will fall, valuations will fall. We may get a lot more M&A deals at better valuations. So I think we will probably come out much stronger through this phase, and therefore the current market environment is not really impacting us. I'm very happy to see that despite the way the markets have been, and especially for tech companies in India, even 15 months later we are above our IPO price. And that's in itself is a good achievement right now, I think, with the way markets are.
The celebration with this, the bonus issue, what prompted that? Why did your board take that decision?
I think we want to be seen as a company that is focused on creating shareholder value, irrespective of how markets are. For example, some people said your price has gone down, so this is not the right time to do this issue. We had thought quite some time before that on our first year anniversary we will do this. So we do not want to play to the market in terms of the volatility in the market and do tactical things. We want to stay the course how we have planned it, and we thought this was a good thing to do for the company on the first year, which is why we did it.
When you listed, the offer price, I think you've said at about 1,101 rupees, 1100 rupees, was less than what you thought it should have been valued at. I want to understand your logic here, because both these decisions are coming from the same place.
Actually, we were having it was not my own perception, but we had the markets were very good that time, and we had a lot of pressure from our selling investors to significantly increase the price. There were talks of taking it up as high as 2,000 rupees. And at that point of time, we could have done it, because at 1100 rupees, we got oversubscribed 150 times. Even at 2000 rupees, we would have easily sold the IPO. But my personal belief was we were not doing the IPO for the short term, right? This was a new journey that we were starting with a completely new set of shareholders. And if you go back to our history, even my earliest investors in 2000, right, my angel investors,
Yeah.
who are still with the
Who are
company,
individuals,
who are individuals,
friends and people you
who
know.
are individuals who have still not sold shares in the company and still very active in the company after 22 years. We've always been very focused on trying to derive value for our investors and those who take faith in us to our best extent possible, right? We have the best intent and best effort that we can make, and from that perspective I thought that overpricing the issue because we can just didn't make sense, and I honestly really fought back on that, saying that it's 1100 or I'm not doing the issue.
Really?
So it really came to that, but that's how we priced it at 1100.
But was it tough to stick to your guns at that point?
Of
Because it
course
was actually an offer for sale, isn't it? By
It was.
India Infoline, for the most part of it.
It was.
Tell me a little bit more, yeah. That's the story.
No, I mean, I already said what I wanted to say.
But is it difficult to stick to your guns when there is so obviously the opportunity to make money?
There was opportunity to make money. As you know, the promoters also sold a small share.
Yeah.
So it would be personally beneficial for me to price it higher.
Yeah.
But after running this company for 20 years, I think I'm not chasing just personal wealth over here. I think it's too much of a reputation and legacy of 20 years, my entire career, right? Because I started this company when I was in college, and I'm 40 plus now. My entire life and career has gone in it. So I think the legacy and reputation is far, far more important than chasing, wealth or short-term personal gains. And that was the philosophy I was coming from.
You've seen the gaming industry, which today is front and center and under the spotlight, like you said, over 20 years now. So you've seen it from when there were, tiny mobile games, which, telecom operators would make available to us, to where it is today, fantasy sports, real money games, esports, all of that.
Yes.
What is the key shift you think that has happened, or has everything changed?
I think the key things that really changed, right? One was the mobile phone penetration and advent of smartphones, especially Android phones. Because for 5,000, 6,000 rupees, a person actually has a good gaming device in his hand, right? Which earlier was not possible. Nobody had PCs and consoles at home. The second thing is data. In our country, the speed of data, the cost of data is fantastic, right? And everybody has access to it now. So I think the evolution of data on mobile is a second thing. And the third thing that's recently happened in the last few years is the growth of digital payments ecosystem, which, as you know, has surpassed a lot of the Western nations as well, right?
Absolutely. The UPI, right?
UPI and also. I think a combination of these three things has been a perfect storm. I think India will become the gaming nation of the world in the years to come, 2030. So it's just the size of consumer base we have and the appetite we have. You're only seeing early signs now.
The finance minister, Ms. Sitharaman, talked about gaming in the budget speech. There's a task force set up for the industry. We know in June, I think you were there at the meeting with the Minister for Electronics and IT, Mr. Chandrasekhar. What are some of the concerns that the government and the regulatory framework or regulators are feeling where gaming is concerned? And how do you think, or what are your inputs on what would help the gaming industry and at the same time protect people? Because the government's concern is coming from people and their risks that they might face.
So I think a big push into the regulatory aspects and focus over there has really been driven by the skill-based gaming industry in India, which has really scaled in terms of monetization, right? Whether it's fantasy sports or other skill-based companies that have come up and providing products and services to consumers. Now the government, of course, wants to make sure that there is responsible gaming and consumers are protected, and I think that's extremely important, right? And for any responsible company like ourselves, we would definitely want such regulations that protect consumers. I think what is missing and what is much needed, and now with the recent developments hopefully will emerge, is more clarity.
On what front?
clarity on regulations, clarity on taxation, right? Because what happens is that when there is unclarity, companies like us find it difficult to invest or build these businesses, whereas a lot of fly-by-night operators in India or outside of India really take advantage of it. So you have a situation where this unclarity results in these offshore companies benefiting, consumers being exploited, the taxes not being generated. So it's actually a lose-lose proposition. So I think clear regulation on what can be done, what can't be done, clear clarity on taxation, etc., will really help this industry develop in the right manner.
Game of skill, game of chance. How do you see the difference? Because you're a gamer.
Yeah, of course, sure. So some games like cricket, right, where there are a lot of reflexes required to play the game, and are very clearly a game of skill, like our World Cricket Championship game.
Yeah.
And then there are some games like today is very popular Ludo, for example, where in my view it's a bit debatable whether it's really a game of skill or a game of chance, and both sides have their own perspectives. So I think there we need to go into underlying data to be able to really see what's happening and justify whether it is a game of skill. If better guidance can come in terms of what is permitted and what is not permitted, then companies like ourselves can aggressively invest in the games of skill area without worrying about this
falling foul of the law.
Right? We really don't want to do that.
The India gaming story is about massive numbers of gamers, second largest in the world, 400 million plus. But that's accompanied by the fact that people really spend $2-3, right? That's what you make per user. How do you see that distance, that journey being crossed?
Yeah, the consumption versus monetization gap, which is there in India, is largely because India is a mobile first gaming country, unlike a lot of international markets, whether it's the West or China or Korea, where PCs, MMOs and have been there for a long time. So users evolved and got into the habit of spending on gaming. India, because it was a mobile first gaming country, by its obvious thing, all the consumers were very casual in nature initially. Now they are evolving and better quality games are available. So I think the spending curve is starting to pick up already, besides RMG, where there's already a lot of spend happening. But even the normal gaming, freemium gaming, etc., now the spending is starting to increase. India globally is now number 1 or number 2 in terms of the number of games downloaded. But it's not even in top 10 when it comes to spending. And I think you will see that change. I think if you talk to youngsters today, even a 10-year-old kid, their whole life is evolving around gaming, esports, watching game influencers on YouTube. So I think as the next generation is coming in,
they're much more sophisticated than
they are born in that, right?
They're natives.
They are natives, right? India will scale up in terms of also becoming maybe a top 5, top 3 country in terms of spends over the next 4-5 years.
Oh, really?
I believe so.
All these different categories or kinds of gaming, what is Nazara Tech seeing the most potential in?
Yes, a lot of opportunity overall. What I should do at this point is bring in our CEO Manish Agarwal.
Okay.
And let him talk in more detail.
Yes, sure. Let him join us. It will be wonderful.
Hi Manish, please come.
Hi Manish, good to meet you. Thank you for making time. So Manish, I was just beginning to ask Nitish about Nazara Tech's plans, and he very quickly said, one second, now Manish. So does that mean that this is the hot seat kind of seat that he's giving you?
This is his way of saying, "Tu jo bhi bolega, deliver karega."
It's committed on video, no?
Well, that's a great strategy.
That's Nitish for you. प्यार से आपको बताएगा आइए हवेली में आइए.
What are the areas that you're seeing growth in? I mean, I do catch you guys on CNBC, on Money Control, discussing all your plans, but give me a sense of where do you see growth coming?
See, if you look at it, gaming per se is beautiful golden decade, as both of us keep saying. Within that, there are many other, business models which are emerging. Some of them are already kind of very visible to you, like esports. Very, very visible. I believe what you saw in IPL auctions, 7 years forward will you see in esports auction.
Really?
That's what you will see.
Wow.
And I'm not making a tall statement because I'm talking to you and I'm on camera, but I truly believe that that's the viewership of the finales of esports tournament happening today is almost getting and bigger and coming closer to the IPL matches. So it's already happening today when India is still, we call it a very nascent gaming market.
Yeah. And esports now back in the way they used to be is now that life has gone back to a sort of
we can
post-COVID normal?
We can fill 1K days in Chinnaswamis if they are indoor. That's the kind of demand we have. So getting people, and they are more crazier fans than what you and I have seen in soccer and cricket. Second, I believe is that whole social hangouts and communities. Gaming is the social platform.
Right. What do you mean? Do you have anything like
we don't have a
Nazara portfolio?
We don't have a very social multiplayer game, but if you look at the games like your PUBG and Free Fires, those are the games where millions of people are playing every day, and I've found my own team.
Thanks to all the startups, the gaming startups with tons of money and their sponsorship of IPL and cricket, the fantasy games seem to be really the big deal. Is it such a big deal, or is it their advertising and communication that's marketing spend that's making the buzz?
There's a third cohort. The third thing is, we are a low per capita income country.
Yeah.
And if I can put my skill to use to make money, what we call play to earn or play to participate, that's a big market, and that market has been growing very fast and will continue to grow because it's still a 20-30% penetration of gaming. Or if you look at 900 million of total smartphone or mobile user base, then you are only talking about 10-15%.
Right.
So huge amount of growth is going to happen. For our portfolio, it's 4%. As these statutory clarities keep moving from black to white in the continuum, we will also get more and more comfortable in doing more capital allocation.
The gaming industry is at the cutting edge of technology, technological changes, disruptions. How do you guys decide as to what to go after? Is this the right time? Is this the thing to back in with your investment?
Like you said, there's new things happening all the time. It's obviously very tempting to get into all the latest things, but we need to also have a balance between the ability to monetize and be attracted to new things. So while you can always have R&D on new things so that you are on the cutting edge, I think the discipline of also focusing on what's the real business here and now today is very important. It's like virtual reality 10 years back was the new hot thing.
Yeah.
But had we got into it 10 years back, we would have not been able to make any money. We would have burnt a lot of money.
Right.
Today, it's at a point where it's potentially at an inflection point over the next 2-3 years, because of the headsets and things like that.
If you don't get on it early, will someone else have the first mover advantage? Give me a sense of what that strategy conversation would be like.
Manish, wanna take that?
We have a very simple theory that we never take decisions on FOMO. And in technology, many more times, first mover advantage is a disadvantage. It is not an advantage. Because the gestation cycle of the behavior which a technology can create is pretty long. We want to see when there's a lot more user base which is using that technology, and then we have an opportunity of building business models on top. Versus just kind of creating initial behaviors, right? Then you are kind of really, what Nitish said, 10 years you will burn a lot of money, and you may really, by the time that real inflection point comes, you have become so cynical and negative about that whole technology that you miss the bus.
Right.
So keeping that sanity of saying that underlying consumer behavior, is it being adopted by millions of people? Because you need to have an addressable market for you to make some business out of it.
So why is it that you didn't want to develop that developer team which would be at the heart of any gaming company, sort of organically? Why did you take the acquisition route? And clearly it's working for you because that's the way you've gone. What is it? Friends of Nazara network, right? Correct. That's what you call it.
In 2015, what we realized is that this market is going to grow very fast.
Yeah.
And if we keep experimenting with 0 to 1 opportunities where the chance of success is very limited, we may miss the boat. The second point we realize is if we partner with, we have a certain dream that, India will become a big gaming country. We want to be in many verticals within that. And if we can partner with, founders and management team that are very passionate, experienced in their particular subsector, I would say, then we can build a fantastic team. Together, we can achieve that dream. So I think from that perspective, we really said, let's go and partner with a lot of existing players, upcoming players, and build a very strong platform where we can all come together, bring in synergies, bring in our passions, bring in our experience, our network, to build something that is, larger than what any single company can do.
There was one bit of your business, which was again via acquisition, which is Kidopia. How's that doing? Because all the people who watch this sector and track companies like yours are curious about, the fact that while it's growing, you are facing challenges because of all the new technological efforts that companies like Apple are making to protect privacy.
Yes, I think the core product, right?
How do you address
Kidopia is very loved by kids, and the team is continuously, building a better product, and the high impact on kids enjoying it is very much there. If you had a product which was suffering from a consumer perspective, kids were not enjoying it, then we had a much larger problem.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
That's not there at all.
This is sort of an ecosystem.
It's a very loved product. Right now, because of the changes in Apple privacy policy issues for advertising, we are not able to get the right consumers or target the right consumers who can discover a product. Right? That is where the problem is. Sure. The customer loves a product. It's just how do we get the right way to reach to it. There's a lot of experiments going on. Team is working on a lot of experiments, and they will get there. I think we'll overcome that hopefully in the next few months. But till then also Kidopia continues to generate profits for us. It's a strong, healthy business.
Most stories we begin with the future, but this one I think it's critical for us to go back to the origin and the past. When you gave him this gift when he was 7, 8 years old, did you ever imagine that it would lead to Nazara Technologies?
Nobody thinks that far.
No.
But he was at around 7, 8, he was showing signs of a different person from what normal children are. And at that point of time, he had taken my credit card. I don't know from where he got it. And then I started seeing books, international big tomes arriving at our house. Technical things, stuff like that. And I wondered who has ordered all this. And it was him. And they were unreadable even by me. It was so technical.
And you're an engineer.
I'm an engineer. And then that journey started. That was about 13, 14 years. He started something called, what was that?
BBS.
The BBS, Bulletin Board Service. That was a very new concept in those days. I had never heard of it, obviously. So that's what started his journey.
Right.
That I don't think even you know what is a Bulletin Board Service. It was connecting with people before internet.
It was a
before like an instant messenger
internet.
kind
It was
of
a
thing.
private internet. Before the internet really came in India. It was 92, 93.
So he had a lot of followers there on that.
Including my mentor Shami Kapoor.
How did you meet Shami Kapoor? That is a story through this,
He
is
used
it?
to dial into my BBS, and then also I was in Sydenham College in the computer center, so we invited him a few times to inaugurate a center and all. That's how we struck that friendship.
I also remember hearing that in the early years when you first started the business, you actually ran up massive losses. And you stepped in to help.
This is a dot-com crash actually, 2000, right?
So
Because we had started the business, there was no real way to monetize. There was a lot of hype, so we built large teams and all. And it took time to kind of resolve all those things. So we did incur a debt at that point of time.
Whatever growth was coming by way of eyeballs. How many people are logging on to it? And there was no sign of any revenues coming out of it.
Right.
That used to disturb me,
So how did you keep the faith?
I just said, let him do whatever he wants.
But you must have had a cutoff, no? A stop.
No, I kept no limits.
How lucky are you?
I think the one thing you should talk about is the 2003, 2004, I think 2002 end when things were really difficult.
Yes.
And we were as a family thinking, should we stop this? That is when my dad said, no, we must keep still trying.
I said he cannot be stopped. He's on to something which we don't understand. We don't understand the future of this. And that was the time when even I was not very affluent. I had my own difficulties in textiles. My textiles things were shutting down slowly because that was the situation in the country.
Yes.
So what I said, this is one thing, let's keep it out. So
Final question, what do you see your role today as the chairman of Nazara Tech?
So I
can see the NSE certificate here on listing. And I can see that proud smile on your face.
I'm more the mentor of the company and the group. And often I stop them from doing things because I have a little long-term vision. Sometimes the youngsters get excited by what they are doing and what they're getting to do, but there are pits and pitfalls which you have to avoid. So that's my role, to guide them.
Do you have a favorite game, or for you is it about the numbers?
Yeah,
That's the game.
Is the number. That's my game.
Thank you so much. I wish you great luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nitish.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you.